All right. Ooh. This is a special edition.
All right. Special.
We got Danner and Josh. Josh, when was the first time you came into CrossFit Mayhem? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, it was back in the day. It was.
Was it at the APC?
It was the APC.
APC.
At the APC.
When Daniel Pratt was there.
Oh, and Daniel Pratt.
Yes.
That's a shout out from the
tattoo
the
on
first
the back. And
the first workout that we had.
Was he what fraternity? For some reason, because he played all the when I was intramural ref.
I can't remember.
I can't remember what fraternity he was in. But.
I just know like Daniel was a fantastic person.
Oh yeah,
and
crazy.
I remember.
Kept up with him?
Huh?
Has anybody kept up with him? Was he?
I think he was down in Florida.
Yeah,
last
I remember
heard.
that. Yeah.
I think I'm not making it up. I got married to a news reporter, maybe. But
wow.
The first workout that we did.
Wait. Can I guess?
Yeah.
They have lunges?
No.
Dang it. Okay. Then I'm thinking of a different one. Go ahead.
Which one was that?
That was on the turf. We did lunge
I think
walk
that was it.
and like slam ball. Do we
It
have
was
the slam
push-ups.
ball?
No,
Push-ups.
it was
Okay.
It was push-ups, sit-ups, air squats, and then we had to. I thought it was an overhead plate lunge across the turf.
That's it.
That was the one we did, because
Todd was doing them and he was doing short man lunges.
Yes.
Where like his knee was like 25 degrees over like the limit.
Yeah.
And that same week that I started, we had to max on lifts, and so we did like deadlift, bench press. We did back squat.
Back squat.
I
benched
remember
more than your back squat. I guarantee it.
No, absolutely not. Come
Really?
on, give me. I got skinny legs, but they've got a lot of spirit. You know.
Right.
No, on the back squat though, because Darren was sitting on top of those.
And you
browns.
also you also row at like a 36 stroke rate when you should use your legs.
I was sitting on.
Okay.
I think I was sitting on like a round 50-inch box,
Yes.
like way up
like
high,
Darren
like a
coaching
crow's
from
nest.
because he was
seated position.
Yes,
I was scared of Josh. He was bigger than me, so I had to
he
get up high.
It's like a cat. He was taller than me,
Yeah.
so it's like he had established dominance.
Yep,
But failed the
did.
back squat forward because
Yeah,
and
We
Darren-
had you had the arms in there though at the APC, right?
no, there were no
wow.
arms. It went straight. It went
right
straight
by
over
the
me.
mirrors.
Folded you, huh?
And then Darren, I just remember looking back, and Darren was staring down at me like this.
As I was
Are
perched
you
up.
okay?
Yeah.
And,
You have shoes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Was
and
APC?
then
I guess we did have rules there.
I did redeem myself though. We loaded back up. I was just nervous. It was my first day.
You were wearing a
And,
blue shirt. I remember that.
It was a mesh top too.
Yes. Yeah.
Like 50 first dates.
But yeah, I would say then after that.
It was like 2011 or 2012.
Yeah.
Did you stay on? Because we
Yeah.
had
did.
people that ventured and like dipped
Yeah.
their toe and came out. Because you were at the actually at the rec center at Tech.
Yep.
That's where I remember seeing you first. Because when I worked at intramurals, you used to walk around with your you had a bag.
I had a
You'd
bag.
Walk around.
It
You'd
was,
wipe everything down before you'd use it and after.
It was a men's health bag
Okay.
that I got for free with the subscription.
What was in that bag?
I had a bag of chalk.
Okay.
I had a Jacked 3D pre-workout
Yeah, you did. The with
before it got eliminated.
okay. With the meth
banned.
with meth in it.
Yes, with meth.
Yeah, I'll say. I was team no explode, so I didn't touch it.
I couldn't use No Explode. No Explode was like that was
Oh yeah.
Explosive bathroom.
yes, exactly.
Oh okay.
So
that was go
Like
explode.
Olestra?
yeah. But yeah, that was it. Other things in the bag, I had magic tricks. So anytime I wanted to like whip something out, I think there was a rabbit in there at one point.
That's cool.
But
That's cool.
humble beginnings. And then I stayed on because I helped lay the floor at the Ralph's location.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then helped pull that up, which
Yeah, we did.
was
We went. Did you go back over there with us?
Yeah.
We went
was
to
weird.
dinner one night and we couldn't. We got out at dinner or something. We went over there.
Yeah, I went and checked it
Before it
out.
burned down. It
I think
burned
the
down.
back door was broken open
something,
too,
and the
stuff.
wall was
yeah.
like there was graffiti in there.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
it was weird.
Crazy.
It was literally like an old like movie scene.
It looked like somebody had been murdered.
it was a very because I walked through when we went and pulled the floor up before we moved to the new place and took like a video of everything.
Yeah.
It had like really bad features. Like there was a central location that was like the Bermuda Triangle that no matter where you put your bar in the gym,
It would
always
always
pull
funnel
back
towards
to
it.
that section.
Yep,
It was always, and I hate this word, but moist
It
in the
was always
gym.
moist, even though it had AC.
Yes,
It had the
did.
windows up top and they're constantly just dripping.
But it was very moist in there.
You grabbed the rope and the rope would sweat on you when you were
Yeah.
climbing. It was
that was fun.
good memories.
very good memories.
Toughened you up.
When did you So it was like a year, I think, after we were in there. Like you actually started like interning though, right?
It was really soon after.
Yeah, it was.
So,
It was.
like the background that I had is that I started working in a gym. I think when I was in 8th grade, because I told my mom, I'm like, hey, I want to start working out, and the sports teams in Crossville were terrible. I don't think that there's a single winning record in the city. Great city, but the sports teams were bad. So started working there at a gym locally. I got a membership.
Which one was it?
It was Powerhouse Gym in Crossville.
Is it?
We were Power Fitness.
We were Power Fitness.
Our very first name.
And
I'm
so
trying to remember because my grandpa lives in Crossville. Is it the one?
it was down past
Up
the
there, throwing
Walmart
down.
before you get to like the Cracker Barrel and the interstate.
Oh, okay. So it's closer to the interstate.
Mhm.
All right. This isn't the one I'm thinking.
And-
I know which one you're talking about now. It's right there on the main,
Yep.
whatever that is.
So long story short, I got a membership there for a month, and then they asked if I wanted to clean bathrooms for a membership, and so I started doing that.
Classic.
And everybody there had like a bodybuilding background, so they started teaching me stuff, and then I started researching things on my own, and then that led to me when I went to college. getting-
Pre-internet or post-internet? Was it mostly in magazines?
It was a
You
mix.
guys remember those days? Like,
Yes, it was
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
it
my
was,
mom smacked my hand if I.
I mean, well, that's why I had the Men's Health.
Now you can like
subscription.
AI anything, you know?
Yes, you
like,
can. You most
which is
definitely
bizarre,
can.
but
It's terrifying,
yeah.
but
Which stands for artificial and never mind. I'm not going to
yeah.
get into
No.
the politics of the.
But yeah, it was. I just did a lot of research. I started like buying books and like self-teaching things, and then that led to me getting a position at the university doing personal training. And I want to say that I went through all of my undergrad because it was 2011, 2012. That was right when I was finishing my undergrad, starting my graduate program, and did CrossFit and was like hooked on it the first time, just because of the variety of it, how much fun it was, like with the challenge. And I went to CrossFit. It was whichever gym in Nashville is close to the zoo. I went and I paid for my level 1, and I got it, I think, like 4 or 5 months after I did my first class, and then started interning.
CrossFit Nashville?
No, CrossFit Nashville sits right off of the. Is it right off the?
Shout out Preston.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. I want to say it could have been there. I think it was.
Maybe
I mean,
is.
it's one that's
Yeah, I
been
was
there
gonna
forever.
say, I guess
it's an incredible
yeah,
gym, great
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. They did Fran, and I remember I did Fran, and it took me like
R.I.P. Fran at level 1s.
9.5
Wow.
minutes. Yeah, you get burpees over bar down.
People never know.
I think I did it like 6 minutes when I did it at level
Mhm.
1, something like that. But I did not straighten my arms on one pull-up, you know? Like, they
It
come by,
was-
straighten your arms. Yeah, right?
I was gonna say.
It was the same.
I remember the day me and Darren were doing pull-ups, and we are like, hey, let's start actually straightening our arms at the
Mhm.
bottom of the pull-up, you know?
I was like,
Remember
Rich.
that?
Rich. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt me.
So
Fuck.
you've been with us since the beginning,
Mhm.
and then you coached for a long time before Darren left. When did you leave?
So I left in 19.
19.
At the end of 19.
And so you kind of took over Darren's spot in
Mhm.
19. Ran the gym ever since, the actual physical location, and then
Yeah.
does everything else behind the scenes before that. And
Well, and at the same time, you were double dipping as far as like at the tech, because you were working there, but then you were also
The tech.
working in the fitness.
the tech.
The tech, yeah, sorry,
Yes.
at the internet's place, but yeah, and yeah, it was great too, because like when you did come on board, because I actually we lived together for 4 years.
Yeah,
Piano.
we survived.
Yeah, piano,
Piano.
yeah,
we
yeah. I had to move
survived
Josh's
the mold house.
8,000-pound piano.
Oh yeah, you
Uh-huh.
guys got moved because of the mold
did.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We kept finding stuff, and we thought it was dog hair at first, and it wasn't.
Spores.
It was mold
It was
that was
spores,
growing on
mold
everything.
spores.
Yeah, these dog hairs are moving.
They came into the house and they go, oh, it's not. We'll just throw a humidifier in, and they start looking, and they're like, you guys want to move? We'll put you in a house twice as big, same rent, like just
Love it.
Whatever you do, don't talk to a lawyer, and
Yeah.
we'll be
Mesothelioma.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, we were roommates.
And you take the piano.
Yeah, well, I know. I got a new piano though.
I hate you.
Piano is so
I bought that
heavy.
piano for $100 in Livingston.
I know
Yeah.
why now.
It's
It's hard to move.
you
Yeah,
put it
it
on
was
the
a
Antiques Roadshow.
$1, 1,000 pounds.
Retire. No, when I was at the fitness center, I was working full time, so it was like 5 a.m. to I would work through my lunch there so that I could leave to get to
Yeah,
Mayhem
so
and
that way
time
you get to
for
class.
the 2.
Yeah.
And then I would be from 2 until like 7 or 8 at night there.
Yeah.
And anytime there were seminars, I would work those. So it was just.
You did. You worked seminars, and then you were actually on the Olympic. With Coach B.
So Bergener, Henshaw with aerobic capacity. I've coached like 8 or 9 of those seminars with him. I'm trying to think if there's any others that I've done. The weightlifting seminar, I've done like 9 or 10 of those as well.
Yeah.
And it's a cool experience because it was like, for me, it was any chance that I get to coach, like it's a very rewarding experience because that's just how you get better at it. A lot of people think that you've got to study, which is true to some extent. But for me, I've always been somebody that's like hands-on experience, and that's what really like locks into my brain.
Right.
And so CrossFit, aerobic capacity, and weightlifting, all that stuff. So
one of the things we had to kind of, I guess, overcome was in the beginning, there was probably, 3 or 4 affiliates that kind of popped up in Cookeville for a little while.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of, we had this, not negative, but everybody just thought that it was only for high-level athletes.
Yeah,
because,
for sure.
you know,
We always got
obviously
that Mayhem.
I competed, you competed.
Yep.
We had a couple teams through there. I think over the last couple of years, I think
Angela was starting up.
Angela was starting up. We really had to fight that in the beginning of.
We even had to fight the name.
Yeah,
Because
Mayhem.
people would hear Mayhem.
You know, because I
and you're
don't
like,
think a
what
lot
do
of
you
people really know the like true backstory of what
Yeah,
happened.
that's
But
what it was.
basically, we started. Family friend of ours owned a kind of cheerleading gymnastics building, and they were we needed a space, and we talked to Robin and Kevin, and they
awesome
basically
people.
just let us train people out of their place. And for probably 6-8 months, something like that.
Yeah, it was. It actually even felt longer than that, but yeah, it's
we had
probably right around
400
there.
square feet that we trained people out of, and we didn't make any money.
No, never.
People,
Didn't
sob
touch it.
stories. Oh, I can't afford whatever. Like, what can you afford? $20? Sure, sounds good. So
Money shmoney. Come
it was
on in.
basically like a fraternity
Come
that
eat
we
it.
just worked out a lot. We got really fit.
We did. We'd be working out. People would show up and you're like, give me 10.
Give me 10.
Oh,
Yeah, we could not afford to call ourselves CrossFit Mayhem or
we were
CrossFit
Power
period.
Fit.
So we were Power Fitness because the place was called Power Athletics. And then when I went to regionals and got won the semifinal and won the regional, Dave was like, hey, Castro came up and was like, hey, where do you train? I'm like, oh, well, we have
Power
a gym,
Fit.
but we can't
You
really
heard
call
of me?
ourselves CrossFit. He's like, email me on Monday. And so that's when CrossFit Mayhem was born. So we had CrossFit Mayhem for a while. And then
the name.
We moved.
Yeah,
Yep.
moved.
We flipped the tire the entire way. You weren't there for that, right?
No,
It was like a mile. We flipped a tire.
Did you ever go to Shag Rag 1, the cinder block building that we were in? Once,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Was
I
it?
was
We
gonna
did the
say.
competition. Easy posted some videos from that a while back.
I don't think it was that. I just
Yeah.
remember that I had been there once, and it was.
That was a dark place.
It was.
There was no windows.
Yeah, there were no windows.
No
Just
windows.
a
There was
cinder
one in
block.
the
That's how
front.
you forged champions.
Yeah, exactly.
It was dark and
molded by it.
It
desolate.
was like the pit in Batman.
Yeah.
You know.
It was.
It's definitely.
And we had the powerlifters in the back for a little while too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we moved over there. We were there for probably 6-8 months, something like that. Chip with CrossFit Cookeville, who was the head strength and conditioning coach. He ran CrossFit Cookeville out of the APC where you started.
Mhm.
But we could only do one class in the morning and one class at night. And when I got there, it was only one class at night. And so we did that. Or while we were doing that, you were working at Averett doing some coaching with Dave. And I wouldn't call it personal training. You were coaching classes.
coach
Basically, we were
classes,
coaching
or I was-
CrossFit.
I was there helping.
Well, I mean, but you were coaching.
Yeah.
And so you were actually making money there. And we weren't
Yeah.
making we were making $0 at CrossFit Mayhem. And so we actually closed CrossFit Mayhem and merged with CrossFit Cookeville for about 6 months or a year. I don't even know if it was a year.
It was
Yeah, because I was a strength coach
probably
for a year.
close to it.
It was
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like 16 months, something like that, because I think it was April the next year. So
that's
you
what-
came along
that's when I
then.
met Josh.
So we had CrossFit Cookeville, which was CrossFit Cookeville, CrossFit Mayhem. And then I still remember sitting at the table, and Chip was like, hey, he'd had two daughters at the time, and, had was running the APC, and he was like, wanted to basically give it to us and let us run with it. They'd started CrossFit Cookeville in a point in their life where they didn't have kids, and they got to the point where they didn't want to do it anymore, right? And so we were like, all right, let's start another gym. And I still remember sitting there, and we kind of, to talk about the name CrossFit Mayhem, it's comes from Fight Club, Project Mayhem. And
My cousin Preston, he'd kill us if we didn't say his name.
I
know.
There's still some discrepancy on whether he came up with the name. But anyway,
there is.
We'll give Preston the credit.
Yeah, I was saying.
Just so we don't have to pay him royalties. But Donnie, Darren's brother, my best friend, that was his favorite movie. It was kind of all of our favorite movie when we were younger, is why we named it CrossFit Mayhem. And so I still remember sitting at the table. I think it was me, you, and Hillary, somebody else, and we were like, all right, when we start this new gym at behind Ralph's, do we name it CrossFit Mayhem or do we name it CrossFit Cookeville? And I still, we went back and forth. We were like, man, CrossFit Cookeville is just so much easier to, it's less intimidating. And then we were like, screw it. I went with CrossFit Mayhem. So, it took us to come back completely to the question of overcoming the scariness, or, people at first thought, Mayhem was only for the elite. So,
but that's still a huge thing.
Yeah,
we have people that come into the gym on a daily basis, or I'll get emails from people that say, hey, I know that you guys have a ton of athletes that go to the games. I'm not sure if I can keep up with people there. And it's always the same response that I have for them, that we have the sampling of athlete types that we have runs the gamut all the way from, we have our kids program at 5 years old.
I always lead with Hollings. He's 83, 84?
Yeah.
I'm like, we have an 84-year-old man that comes in here, and he's there almost every day.
Yep.
You'll be fine,
And I think that it's one of those things, it's coming down to it. So if you go to a regular gym, like if you go to Planet Fitness, you're kind of on your own. You can be off to the side. You can go in and you really don't have to interact with anybody. But it's any experience that you go into, whether it's a gym, whether it's a new workplace, whatever it is, it's always a base level of scary because it's unknown.
For sure.
And
in the name CrossFit, my favorite is, I got to get in shape before I come over and do CrossFit.
Yes.
And I'm like,
YouTube killed it.
You're missing the point. It's YouTube killed it, but it also helped it. It's like a double-edged sword. But that's my favorite thing. Is I always just tell, I remember when I first started CrossFit, it was like anybody I could talk to, I'm like, you got to do CrossFit. And then now I'm just like, people are like, hey, I think I might come over there and do a CrossFit. And I'm like, you should,
exactly. The hardest part was just getting them in the door. And once they walked in, and like Josh said, and you guys said, once they saw like a guy like Howlings, Phillip, and like all these average people, that would come in from their, jobs and stuff, they come in mad at the world, and they get in there, and you'd have like your door greeter, like Steve Hill, Hillary's uncle, was phenomenal with it, because as soon as they walked in, Steve was right there, talked to him for 20 minutes. We got to yell at Steve to let them walk in, because he was greeting them. Yeah, Keith and stuff. But it's like, getting them in the door. Once you get them in the door, it's like you didn't have to sell it to them even at that point. It's like they could just see.
Well, I think one of the best things that we did was the life class, and getting people to just see that, hey, and my favorite thing is life thinks it's this completely separate thing. They're doing CrossFit,
they are.
But
and they're actually competitive.
Oh yeah, I
in
love
their
it.
Stuff.
The life class is awesome.
Cool.
And that's what I always tell people when they first are like, I don't know, where should I start? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, let's start with a life class. And then from the life class, they kind of just snowball into. They see that they can do all the other stuff, and then they're all in too. So.
And then there's like the other side of people like, well, life class is too easy. I'm like, no, some of the stuff that life class does, it's like, and that's like any workout. You can make it as hard as you want it. You can approach any scaled workout, any elite workout, whatever it is. I could just do air squats, and I can make it as hard as I want to do.
Yep.
Well, that's something too that we've done, because over the years we've kind of changed our intro program around to figure out the best way to make an easy transition from the finish of that, because you go from a program where you have people that are with you all the time, like you have 4 to 5 coaches in that class with you, so you have multiple people giving you feedback, and then you go into a coach-led class that has one coach. You'll be in there with like 10 to 12 to 15 other people. And so what we've done with that is that we have the requirement that you have to have 6 months experience, like recent experience at another affiliate. If you don't have that, you go through the 4-week intro course. At the first 3 weeks, it's workouts, We'll have some lectures in there that explain the basics behind like the methodology of why we do it.
Level 1. You're basically going to go through a level 1.
Yep. And then the 4th week, you go into the 6 p.m. class with your intro class and your intro coaches. And that's kind of the bridge, because then you're getting a regular class experience, and it's not intimidating that when the intro course is done that you're like, now I have to go to a normal class. Yeah. And we found
like a kindergartner at school where they're like, where's my classroom?
Yeah. So like retention-wise, we went from having maybe 50 to 60 people stay on after the intro course to almost complete conversion from that intro course into a regular membership.
That's huge. I mean, like, just like you said, because that was the thing is we get people that would go through the intro back in the day, like when we started, and it was a good like intro, but the same thing would happen. They would get done and they would just feel, I wouldn't say abandonment by like any means, but like they wouldn't have like that. Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have like that comfort zone.
Yeah.
But that's good.
Well, that's a tough thing, because I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day about CrossFit itself isn't anything new. Like it's taken all these different concepts.
Yeah,
and put
basically
them
we
together.
just stole everything that was good from everybody else
right?
and put it into one.
It's the best practices of like several.
And, I mean, genius, but
one of the biggest things is no matter where you go in the world, you can go to a country where you don't even speak the language, that if you find a CrossFit gym, it's the universal language of the community aspect.
For sure.
Because you go in, you figure out what the workout is, and then you start doing it, and you have somebody next to you you've never met that anywhere else they wouldn't say anything to you. Like if you met them in Kroger, they wouldn't be like, that's the best apple. You picked the best apple. Keep going. Like, get the other produce you need.
I would not go back to that Kroger.
Yeah, I think you might.
Kroger's.
That's because you don't like apples, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you get into
have you ever heard Darren eat an apple?
Yeah,
it's like listening to a horse eat an apple.
I know. I feel like I should be paying
money. I remember
money.
driving to the gym every morning and Darren just be chomping on an apple. And I don't have like one of those weird food aversions, like people eating. Like my wife cannot. She'll
making it sound bad. I just eat the dang apple.
Ask like anybody that's been around you eating an apple.
Because I eat the whole thing. That's just why you have a hard time.
That's why you can subscribe to Darren's Apples on OnlyFans.
We should do Darren's Apples on
Apples to Apples.
Hillary has a weird aversion to
ASMR
people chewing.
channel.
It usually doesn't bother me, but
yeah, no, going back to that, getting people like in the door, stuff and all. But what was so cool and like what I loved, like Jess and I talk about this all the time, because I've been away from Mayhem since 2019 as far as, moved away, but still come back and like still able to visit. And I love walking in the gym. I see people that have been with us even from 2013 or 12, 11. I mean, like Thomas Lynn,
Kay, or
probably. I mean, like Michelle.
Tim and Dawn are still there.
Tim and Dawn, I love seeing them in there. They're talking like with the same people, other people welcoming them in, bringing their families in. They brought their kids in.
Except for the 815, you gotta stay from them. They're away from them. They're a cult.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's grown. 815's packed.
It is. It's also the mom army.
I was gonna say it is. It is the mom army. It's the ones. It's the ones that try and get you to do the workouts that they want to do.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not gonna squat today. I'm gonna do sit-ups.
Yep. I just want to tone.
It's a summer. Can we just do arms and core?
And then you got Levi program of bicep curls in a Metcon.
He still can't live that down, and it's he's
because coach's choice on Friday. I'm 100% a proponent of doing bicep curls, just not in a Metcon.
A hang power clean.
Hang power clean. There you go. Or dumbbell hang power clean.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I think too. Like what's
AKA
like
hammer curl.
Yep. Sure, like the bicep curl thing or something. But going back to like when like we first started, even Josh started. That's what I loved is we weren't afraid to try different things. I mean,
a lot of dumb stuff.
We did a lot of dumb stuff. I may have hurt a lot of people, in the beginning. But again, it was
we always tested it on ourselves.
We generally did, but at the same time, we're like, that one felt good. Even though we're beat up, our shoulders are down.
We did.
And stuff.
We did program burpee shuttle runs at the, but it's a burpee box get over in the middle of the shuttle run.
Yeah.
So when that shows up at the games, you know that they've been following our affiliate programming is what it is.
But it's like, but like stuff like that, I think a lot of people got so fixated on CrossFit, movements. And I mean, you know, like we said, like the creativity of it, but not being able to think like outside the box, but also keeping it simple at the same time. It was like trying to find like that like recipe, you know, because there's sometimes you get too gimmicky with things and you try and like go way over the top. You're like, all right, you know, that was stupid. But at the same time, you can use that to branch into other things. And
Remember the snatch balance box jump we tried? We didn't do it in Metcon.
the clapping handstand push-ups, like the stuff like that.
We never put those in class.
No.
That was just us messing around in the gym.
Yeah.
I remember I've seen
like
that when you tried
GHD
out.
pull-ups, like, I mean, like stuff like that, you know, there were always like things that were like, all right, yeah, we'll try it. We'll see how it goes. And I
really
did.
dumb.
And, you know, you feel bad for some of the classes. And
This was like 2009 when we tried some of this stuff.
yeah. This is where we even
The
had a
clapping
class.
handstand push-up has come back a couple of times.
Has it?
So.
I've
Well,
never
because
seen
it's
it.
a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a
It
challenge.
just sounds like a broken
It
neck.
just-
Disclaimer, if you hurt yourself trying to do that, that's not our fault.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
do
It's
not do
right.
that at
It's
home.
been around for a while.
But you guys work closely together on
Yeah.
when you program something, Josh will test it out, or
Yep.
with the gym. You know, obviously, it's a little bit different in the fact of we have
Everything.
access to everything.
Yeah.
We have a huge facility. We do coach's choice on Friday, so we allow our coaches to get a little bit creative,
Which
within
that's
reason.
something we highly recommend.
Everything does pass through you before, because Josh is the head coach at Mayhem and makes sure everything is on the up and up. We've had a couple people get a little cute with some stuff. So it used to just be free reign. We'd let them do anything. Now the workouts must be turned in, and you're not going to change much unless you see something
Yeah.
either dangerous or just inefficient. And so other than that, though, you know, a lot of the workouts are tested, and, you know, you may take them, like we share a note. So if I do something, you see it. There's a lot of talk that goes into, or something taken from athlete and also toned down, or not even watered down, but, you know, a little bit different than from what the high level athletes are doing. But every once in a while you might see a workout in there that some of the games athletes were
Which is
given.
cool. And there's always the ones that tried and true, the ones like that you fall back on, like where you know in the past. Like
We
they
do fall in
work.
some ruts. Not
Yeah.
ruts, but we found some stuff that's effective, and it just works.
100, yeah, I mean, like % with that. And yeah, Josh's, I mean, like Josh did a great job with it too, because when we first started, like with the programming, that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted things to get tested within reason, but I didn't want Josh to feel like he had to do exactly like, you know, like what I was putting out there, because then that doesn't fit the Mayhem mold. You know, Josh found what works best for Mayhem. We take that, we, you know, test it out, and then we make those adjustments to try and find like the best recipe for everybody else out there.
And that goes into, with the affiliate programming, is that what we program at Mayhem is, and when I say this can be done poorly, but we take feedback from members. So it's like the ultimate goal, or kind of like the test throughout the years, the open. So we look at a lot of weaknesses, and 2 to 3 years ago, we looked at what people were struggling with in the open, and then we started making sure we were working that in throughout the year, because a lot of times with programming for affiliates, you'll see muscle ups come up the month before the open, and there's never progressions or things that are worked on throughout the year. And we will try to identify ruts when they come up, because it's like you look at your programming and you say, hey, we haven't touched wall balls in like a month. What we try to do is that TJ is at the gym with me, and he has a fantastic programming mind as well. And so we'll work together on Fridays that we'll take a look at the programming document. We'll see things that would be applicable to the gym population, things that we know people are struggling with, and finding ways to balance things out. And one of the things that I can say about the affiliate programming and Mayhem programming as a whole, there's always a reason behind what we do. So it's never like anybody can program. Like somebody who's never done CrossFit could program a CrossFit workout. But programming a good CrossFit workout that has a purpose behind it, that has balance between the different movements that you're doing, it's an art form. And it's something that's taken a long time for us to get good at, but it's the gym population speaks for itself and how much they love it.
I'll say, too, that everything that we do, I'd say 99% of everything that we do is tested. You know, like it's tested usually a couple times, you know, whether it's high-level athlete, middle,
whether it's
or lower tier of athlete, but beginner athlete, I don't even say lower tier, but it's tested pretty thoroughly, and with multiple populations.
Yep, exactly. And you know, like there's like some stuff, you know, too. I mean, like just like Rich said, about 99% but there is, you know, I mean, some stuff like where, you know, like you like look at the week like as a whole, you're like, oh wait, we can't do that because of this. Different strength cycles lining up at like different times, you know, because what like Compete's doing at their time and what Mayhem's doing at their time is a little bit different because of the season. I mean, it's the nature of the sport and stuff, you know.
Yeah, we do try to. You and Jake talk a lot, or
Yep.
not? Yeah, you talk a lot, but you try to overlay where if you know you've got somebody that's competing at your gym, every once in a while they can jump into the class and get that stimulus of a similar workout or maybe the same workout. Because I've noticed, you know, jumping into a class at times, you push a little bit harder because obviously, you know, you got other people in there that are trying to beat you or whatever. So. Any athletes that you have that train regularly by themselves, have them jump into a class.
Well, and we have, I mean, because when you come to Mayhem, we do have our games level athletes that are constantly doing their thing. But I mean, this week the games are happening this week. I'm literally going to be on a plane in an hour or 2 hours to go to Fort Worth.
Yep.
But Victoria jumped into the 2 p.m. I think on Wednesday or Thursday, and she was doing the class. And one thing that's to be said, and it's kind of like circling back on what we spoke about earlier, is that the misconception that Mayhem is only for elite athletes. The affiliate programming is programmed in a way that it is so modifiable, as should any CrossFit programming be, that you can take one workout and you can modify it in terms of like when you talk about your intensity that you're working at or your loading that you're working at. You can make it for a games level athlete and have them get the specific stimulus, or you can modify it in a way and take somebody who is absolutely brand new because, and I've heard this mentioned before in CrossFit, but it's not, the need for an athlete does not vary with kind, it varies within degree. So being able to take those movements and a workout, and my 100% looks different from your 100%.
Right.
But we can both get 100% out of a workout and get the benefit from that.
Right. I say the result's the same.
Varies in degree, not kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and the way that I explain it to people is if I have people, and this is helpful maybe for some affiliate owners out there, when you have somebody that comes in and they say they need to get fit before they come in, and I tell people there's no bad habits that we need to break from you, so it's great for you to come in as a blank slate.
Yep.
And then if you look at it in terms of your fitness journey, wherever it is, we're not on different paths. We're all on different paths. We're on the same path. We're just at different points of that path. So if Darren's been in it for 5 to 6 years and I have an athlete over here that's just starting out, it's not, there's a huge similarity there that you have to be able to explain and say the difference in terms of what your intensities look like. My 100%, maybe I'm just doing air squats in this workout and he's doing back squats.
Pounds,
exactly.
Like that. Yep.
Yeah.
So being able to do like a low barrier to entry in terms of that intimidation, and it takes a very high level of empathy to be able to see where somebody's coming in and doesn't, your perspective is what you know the best. But I have to put myself in the shoes of somebody who's never worked out before, who's never been like worked out in front of other people before, and explain to them how this is going to make them better. We see the potential in them and we want to help them get there.
I think too, that's one of the advantages we have is for lack of better terms, we're CrossFit Disneyland. We have a ton of drop-ins come through.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And so we have all different walks of life, all different languages.
We would get people dropped in and never done CrossFit before. They're just fans of it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so like you got to think the amount of, you know, the range of athlete that walks through that door. So the coaching that you guys do or we've all done and had to do and had
Can't
to
speak
adapt,
English and
you know,
stuff.
so it's pretty cool to think about just the experience that you guys have had doing that.
And you know, and that's the other thing that I really did love too, was that we weren't afraid to change things up. Like, you know, I think a lot of people get so stuck on the programming and making that be what they have to do. And it's like, you know, if we saw somebody come in and, you know, or like a class, I mean, like we noticed from a class prior, things just weren't, you know, like going good, you know, like with it, we would make that adjustment for the next class. We're like, hey, you know, change it up a little bit. Try and get a little bit different stimulus, you know, I mean, like with it, try out something new, or just, you know, like somebody that like came in that wasn't able to like do something, or legs are super sore. Like I'll use this example from just a couple weeks ago. One of the workouts was, you had to do 30 air squats, and then whatever time left within 2 minutes, you had to do max calories on the air bike or the Echo bike.
You're not talking about the step over one that everybody was mad about?
No. But like for instance, let's say somebody came in and they're like, hey, legs are like killing me. Let's switch it around. Let's do more calories on the bike, and then whatever time's left to where you change that stimulus around to where they're biking more than they are squatting.
Mm-hmm.
That way their legs are not getting completely beat up.
You don't have the eccentric of the squat.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's like just being able to have that knowledge, or at least, that willingness to change that up for people, I think is a huge part coaches don't dive into.
Mm-hmm.
They get so fixated on, you have to do this. This is, like what it is. It's how to modify and how to think on the fly.
Oh, for sure.
With large classes even. It's a big thing.
Well, and two, I mean, when you look at Mayhem Affiliate, is that there's a huge amount of resources there that people can tap into, to where when you're getting into it, nobody is going to automatically start being a great affiliate owner or a great coach, but the services that are offered through the affiliate programming and the things.
Yeah, we talked some of that, like Christy and what she does.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
And so it's like what you find with that programming is that it's something that can take your gym's what you're providing for your athletes, and it may be a one-dimensional service to where it's like, this is the Metcon, go do this, and that's it, and the coach only helps them set it up and doesn't really give feedback, to where you're getting stimulus, you're getting modifications, you're getting ways that if the instance, if you have an athlete that can't squat, then you can reach out and say like, hey, I have this situation that I'm dealing with, and we're able to provide modifications so that the affiliate owner or the coach themselves will begin to internalize that feedback and be able to start figuring some things out themselves.
100%.
And so the other cool thing about the affiliate programming, and this is some of the feedback I get on a regular basis when I meet people, they're like, it is so much. And we tell people that we provide a lot of options for you to be able to use in your affiliate. And what you can do is that we want you to follow the programming as closely as possible. But if there are certain things you need to modify based on your timing or your equipment availability or whatever it is, you have a little bit of freedom there that you can do that without getting away from the core of the programming that we provide as well.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the slap and chop of CrossFit, except it actually works. It makes your job very, very easy, and it provides something at the end that's a very quality product that is shown in how your members are performing in the open, performing in life, and just your membership base, because we do not have to do any advertising in town for the gym. It's always word of mouth. Yeah. So I get emails on a regular basis, and they're like, hey, this is my friend Darren. He heard about me doing classes. He wants to do the intro course. And so that's what can start happening for your gym by implementing the programming that we provide.
Yeah. And that is when I envisioned, like when we started this, programming and stuff, was I wanted something that coaches could read from and, like, just like Josh said, be able to implement that within their gym. But if we didn't challenge you, if we didn't give you a lot of stuff, or, didn't provide you like with this, then we're doing you an actual disservice. I mean, like, as a coach, we're not actually, if it's plug and play where you could literally take everything and like put it in, you're not fine tuning your coaching skills. I learned, and I think I performed at my best where I had to adjust on the fly or when crap hit the fan. Because, you could program the perfect workout and all of a sudden 29 people step in for a workout that's designed for 5 people. Yep. And what are you going to do? It's, I mean, to me is like one of the most important things of a coach, because every day crap hits the fan. Every single class, somebody's late, somebody's showing up, 20 minutes late on something, or more people have questions, stuff. And that's what timeline. Exactly. Timeline goes out the window. You got to be able to, pull yourself together, pull the class together, and make sure that you can still get the most out of them. So, that's something that I wanted a lot of people to understand, like, with it is we're not trying to break coaches. We're trying to make them unbreakable.
Ooh, I like that.
Nice, Darren.
Movie line.
Shirt time.
We build unbreakable coaches. And another, we've talked about Christy and kind of given the help on the business side and all those types of questions. And Wish she was here to kind of answer some of those or talk to some of that.
Yeah.
Well, and two, like I get a lot of questions from Christy. So the affiliate owners have to know that when they're getting the experience from Christy, but then they'll also, if there's a unique situation, she'll reach out and she'll ask, like, how would you guys handle this at Mayhem? And I say, oh, well, we've actually gone through something similar, and this is exactly what we did and the outcome of it.
And I think some people think, well, that's Mayhem. It's different than my affiliate, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that's probably different is the amount of drop-ins.
Yes.
We're in a small town. Like, Cookeville is, 40,000, 50,000?
Yeah,
it's to travel through.
But it is, like we've got 4 or 5 towns that are around us that all kind of feed here. But it's still very, like we get I'm not paying $100 whatever for a membership. And that's way too expensive. I can't afford that. So, like, we get the normal, like, everybody, I would say a super, like, we're a normal affiliate. Other than the amount of drop-ins we
Absolutely.
get.
We have some people that come in and don't know anything about the games.
Yeah.
And they're just like, hey, you guys work out here?
Yeah,
and
we saw people running outside, and so
I
would, obviously the access to equipment is way different than most places, and then the size of the gym. But, I mean, we still have, honestly, we have the same problems. We're running out of parking spaces.
We're running out of gym space.
We're running out of gym. Like, you would not believe that we would run out of gym space.
I never thought it
We're running out of gym space. You go in there on a Wednesday night when you got multiple kids classes going on, the life class and the normal class, plus then you have
athletes.
Endurance and athletes and all this stuff. So we have the normal gym problems. So it's not like magical utopia place where you just walk in and
it does not run itself.
No, it does not. It does not. It's chaos in there.
I have to give credit to my wife, Katie, because she is so understanding that running an effective and successful affiliate takes everything. Like, because it's not something that you can get started
job.
And it like runs itself. It's something that there are always issues because you're dealing with people.
Something's always broken.
And so you have to like step in and you have to take an active role and it's tough. Like, we have over 700 members at the gym, and somebody will have an issue with somebody. So not getting into people's business, but you have to find a way to effectively deal with that so that way the larger population can function correctly. And then it's the consistency with which you run the business.
Yeah,
and
you
so
gotta be consistent.
You have to show the same treatment to everyone, and people understand that, so that then when you do have certain prices that's fair for what the product that you're offering, people understand because everybody's getting that same price. And they're getting the same service. And so I hate to do this, but I am going to have to step out.
You gotta go.
Because
you're good. That was a great. That was a great sign off.
We
Josh.
can update at the end of this podcast if I made my flight or not. So
What time's your flight?
it's at 11:39.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
So we'll see. We should be fine.
Dude, I walk through
I gotta check a bag.
Rich,
though.
It doesn't matter.
Rich is
I
the
walk
most stressful person.
I
to go
walk
to the
through the
airport with.
door at 1
He
hour
is.
every time.
He
I'm
does
not-
this and
I'm
I've
not
missed.
Hey,
knock on
I'm not
wood.
Rich Froning. I have to
knock on-
carry my own
I
bags.
carry my own.
I don't have somebody
I fly
that's
the
feeding me
cheapest.
grapes.
I fly the cheapest. When have I ever booked first class?
The
had-
hyperbaric like capsules they have in the airplanes. He
I
gets
wish.
that every single time.
we have
It's
never
just like
had
LeBron.
like the Home Alone
I wish.
experience.
When
so
have I
knock on
ever?
wood.
Actually-
No, I know.
I've never once flown first class on my own dime.
This is they're calling me right now. I will say that Rich Froning is one of the most humble human beings
No, I'm
because
just the cheapest.
it's synonymous, you know. I will say, if you have good taste in movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where the lady throws her hair over onto Steve, his brownie, and then John Candy's like, "You gonna eat that?"
you gonna eat that?
Those are the experiences
Shower
that
curtain
we've
rings.
had on planes before. So there is no first class here.
No, there's no first class.
we're of the people.
We're of the people.
But-
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming,
So,
Josh.
Hey,
Thanks for coming.
Thank you
Okay?
so much.
Thank you.
Travel
and
safe. I'll see you Sunday.
we'll do Darren's Apples on OnlyFans. We'll
Apples to apples.
do that subscriber code.
Apples to
Thank you
apples.
guys. And good luck to all the athletes, whether you're a Mayhem athlete or not, at the CrossFit Games. And we can't wait to see you on the affiliate programming right after this podcast. Sign up.
Everybody
Love
sign
to
up.
have
Hey,
you.
you also,
Smash that like
Me
button.
and
See
Darren
you,
will
Josh.
keep talking for a second, but
Yeah.
Facundo, love you, bye. See you Sunday. Oh, hey, yeah, Mayhem affiliate is on in French, Spanish. Is it Portuguese too? Portuguese and Spanish. There we go. Which French is kind of close to Portuguese? Yeah, French is coming soon. Mayhem affiliate. We. Love you, bye. Gonks, what else we want to talk about?
Yeah, what do we got?
Man behind the camera, or behind the...
Yeah.
Well, just some
Actually, hey,
housekeeping
Josh,
stuff.
let's actually ask you because you came in what? You came into this last year or 2 years ago?
Just over 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
So yeah, what was your experience? I mean, like walking in because you were outside looking in.
From the West Coast,
Yeah,
Northwest.
let's hear it.
Yeah, I came from a very small gym, like 80 members.
So tell us.
We have no one that makes quarterfinals. And yeah, I was honestly petrified coming here. I literally was like, I cannot go to Mayhem.
But you're a mainstay at the 2 o'clock class. That's
Yeah.
That's your home.
That's my home, 2 p.m. Yep. I love it. It's everything you guys say, but like I definitely had the exact same perspective that outside people that don't know Mayhem had regarding Mayhem. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even want to step foot in the gym, even though I'd done CrossFit for 10 years. I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah,
I won't
scary.
fit in, can't
Yeah.
do it, won't be able to hang. And of course, just like you guys are saying, I was proven completely wrong. And
Well, I mean, it is intimidating. Hell, there's some times that I don't want to go in there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not competing at this level anymore. You know, I don't want to jump in with the athletes anymore.
I mean, granted, Rich is different just because whenever he walks into a gym, everybody knows who he is. But, you know, I can even say to it just on my end, walking into other gyms, it's like the expectation that like people put on you
Oh,
even,
yeah.
you know, because like, oh, you're from Mayhem. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
I
just
mean,
imagine that. Oh,
yeah.
it's Rich Froning. I have
Yeah.
to go as hard as I possibly can.
Exactly, you know. So I mean, that was always like the opposite side of things. Like if I drop in, they're like, "Oh, you know, this guy's this guy works out in Mayhem and stuff." And so half the time, I try and keep my hat
Keep
low.
my hat low.
I would say just keep my hat low and
Make sure it's on a Mayhem hat.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I mean, Josh got to see those people firsthand, like that we talked about, Howlings, Phillip. I mean, a lot of those people where you're like,
That's your 2 o'clock crew right
It
there.
is.
It is,
Yeah, it
100%.
is.
Even
I know
Summer.
daily.
Yeah, Summer and
Yeah.
Shane.
Yeah,
and you got all
Summer.
that
I would
group.
say Josh did a great job on all those production videos with that as well. That actually captured their life and their story into it, which I think is so important. And that's what I tell so many coaches. Like when they get started with this, you cannot go into this with the full business mindset of making money. It's like you have to truly love what you do and understand the impact that you're not only making on their lives, but they're going to make on your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when we first got into it, it was like, oh, you know, you do simple math, you got $100, you get, you know, $100 a person, you start doing numbers, you're like, oh, we're going to be rich.
Jet plane.
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not.
like,
That's
it's
not what
easy.
you're getting in it for.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and Josh would kill me probably for saying this, but I could probably close CrossFit Mayhem down, which I never would, ever.
Everybody calm
and
down.
make more money. You know, like there's so much overhead. There's, you know, if it was my sole job and I was the one doing it, yeah, I could make a good living. But trying to pay a bunch of people to do it, we could close Mayhem and actually probably make money. I would never do that because the community side of it.
Everybody calm down.
Yeah, everybody chill out. And it's just it's a place that people kind of congregate. It's cool.
People
that
love it, man.
It's awesome to see the friendships that have been made. You know, like we were just saying, you and Shane, that 2 o'clock group, like and it's kind of funny, like the classes kind of clumped together, and you know, like there might be a little feed over from the 2 to the 3 or the 3 back to the 2, but you're never going to go to the 6. Like, well, those people are different. You know, it's funny to
They're
see
different
that.
animals.
I really want to do a competition where you team up, like. You're like 8:15. You pick 5 people from the 8:15. You pick 5 people from the 2, 5 from the 3, and we do a competition on a Saturday.
100%.
Because I mean, those people, like, it's hilarious, and they all get along, but you would never venture into that group. You know, like that's not your group, and so it's pretty funny. But I would love to if we could ever figure out the logistics on that and get people to buy in on like an Olympics basically for your class. Which class is the most dominant would be pretty awesome.
I think you would have instant buy-in.
I think so too.
You would.
And so I've been pushing for
There would be bloodshed.
There would be blood.
There would be.
I showed up at Chris's class, Coffee Chris, at 7 p.m. one time because I had to work late, filming late. He's like, "What the heck
What are you doing here?"
here?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like,
you don't
"Now we
belong
have
here."
to do CrossFit."
Well,
like,
because
why are you here? And then
but
I didn't know
you're-
who Jake Cobb was, and I'm going right next to him. And I'm like, who is this guy keeping up with me? And apparently Jake said that to Chris. He's like, well, who is this guy?
Who
Yeah.
are these
Who
guys?
is this guy?
Well, but you're super regimented. You know, like
I know.
I joke, but like you get there, you warm up. You got like his whole like
Yeah, he
regimen
does.
that he does.
He's
and
got his little
but it's
bag
like
of-
it's all down to the T on the time. So I can't imagine you going to the 7 o'clock. Like your body was probably like,
Oh, dude.
what are we doing? You know,
I couldn't go to sleep because I was so
I know,
hot
right?
for
Yeah,
so
and-
long
and,
afterwards.
dude, that's one thing. The older I get, I can't work out that late. Where I used to, you remember when I was an individual at like 9 or 10 o'clock?
You would sneak down and start rowing or
Or
something
out
like
to the
that.
garage
Yeah,
and
out to
start
the
rowing
garage
or
and
whatever,
We'd all
like-
be sitting there like, where the heck's Rich? And you hear the whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, and now thinking I'm past 5 o'clock. I'll do it if I have to. But
That's the same with me, like a 5 a.m. I mean, I don't know how people wake
that's
up.
a different planet.
That
to
is
me.
a different animal.
I remember when we used to work at Averitt, because I worked at
Yeah.
Averitt too.
I could do
before Darren.
cardio. Like if you give me like a
Light
bike, but-
cardio,
but
like zone 2.
Yeah.
Zone
But
2.
It would be a 10-minute, 20-minute build up,
Yeah.
like until I could finally pick
But
it up.
That's a different planet to
It's-
me.
it's so
I do
different.
remember one time I worked out at like 3:30 in the morning. We were going on one of our elk hunts, and I knew I wasn't going to work out for like a week. I wasn't going to work out, but
Yeah.
still hike your balls off. And I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning and did strict Cindy. And it was just, I felt great when I got done.
You feel
but
dazed,
Getting
though.
getting moving was and it was in the basement, so there was no music. It was it
Oh,
was
dude,
awful.
that's just start the clock and
just go. And so, but yeah, just a completely different planet. So, and that's something that from an affiliate, you got to try to figure out how to get everybody kind of involved. And on Saturdays, I feel like everybody kind of comes together because we don't actually do a class schedule. We just do open gym, usually 2 to 3 hour open gyms on Saturday.
Which I think is great, though, because that's where the members can actually have a little fun, like with programming.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff,
can
you know.
program. There's a workout on the
there's an
board that
option.
people can do, but you'll walk in there and people are just doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, they are.
different
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
Like, what
trying
the hell's
out-
going on?
trying
but
out
that gives
things.
them an opportunity to hit different implements that
Exactly.
they can't necessarily hit. We're speaking to CrossFit Mayhem, so we do get to, our athletes get to touch sleds on the regular. They get to touch the runners, the ski ergs. Like, it's funny when we get people that have never touched some of those implements, and they're just like blown away that they don't know what to do. And then, you talk them through it, and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know?
It is. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of like speaking back to, like when we were talking about coaching style, how like each class was like different, like the stimulus for like the workout, like what the coach is trying to accomplish is still the same from like class to class. But I loved, and that was one of my favorite things, is like when we had coaches start up, even Josh and all the ones that like came in and stuff, I never tried to get them to coach just like me. I didn't want them to coach just like me. I wanted them to be unique. I wanted them to not be afraid to try things out. I wanted them to accomplish the same thing, as far as, meet the stimulus of the workout, but because I learned just as much from Josh that I did from other coaches, because I would watch like what Josh did. I'm like, oh, what's Josh doing and stuff, to me, that was such a great thing, because that made me a better coach. That made me want to get better when I saw, Josh getting hugs from like other people in the gym. I'm like, no hug. Yeah. I was like, no one's hugging me. I was like, what is Josh doing?
I'll speak to, on the other end of that, you're the best coach I've ever seen, from coaching a beginner all the way up to, minus me, because I hated when you even tried to tell me to do anything, up to high-level athletes. Like Paige, you coached Paige last year.
Yeah.
And so top 10 at the CrossFit Games, all the way down to, anybody who's just walked into the gym. You are able to motivate that person or figure out what kind of makes them. I think it just comes down to being a people person.
Yeah.
But getting the most out of people from any walk of life or any fitness level, you're the best person I've ever seen do that.
Yeah.
And so that's, talking that you get from Darren or from Christy, is how, just different things to think about. You see the personality, you see, and when you're talking through the notes of how to coach somebody. But to something I was just thinking about is, so somebody who's on the fence about using affiliate programming because, they program for CrossFit Mayhem and they have access to everything. I only have access to, rowers. And what I love is what's so cool about, I think, is we've programmed with the bare minimum. back when we
Bare
first, back in
minimum.
our day when we first
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
You know, if
Two
you wanted
two
to do,
barbells for 9 people.
if you wanted to do some extra cardio,
Yeah.
you could row,
Yep. You could row.
or you could squat,
Yep.
or you could run,
You could burpee.
or you could do a burpee,
Yeah.
or you could use a barbell with 135 or 95.
Yeah, exactly.
There wasn't
Yeah.
ski ergs, there wasn't
Yeah, there
runners, there
wasn't.
wasn't bikes, there wasn't any of this stuff.
You didn't even hear about this stuff.
No,
you
and
know
so
about it,
so
it's-
you've programmed from that time to the time of, say, Mayhem, where we literally have access to everything. So somebody who's on the fence and like, I can't do Mayhem programming because I don't have all that equipment, speak to how you would, or how you get around that by giving them options and telling them kind of the stimulus.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of goes back to where the athlete's at, what are they looking for? And, that was the other thing that I took such pride in, and Josh, he's not here, so I can just point to him, but he did such a phenomenal job with, too, is learning your athletes. As soon as they start up, learn about them. Ask them every single time that they walk in. It's not just, hey, get in the class. It's, hey, how you doing and stuff, because then you start to build that relationship with them, and then you start to understand what motivates them. It's I mean, love the level ones, learned so much about them, but I didn't want to coach in that robotic sense of the level one where everything was read from the handbook. And they also did a great job of teaching you to think outside of the handbook, as well. Because I learned a lot from Hobart, Austin, and all of them as well. But it was understanding that athlete and knowing that you talk to each person differently. So by the way you motivate them, like tone of voice, so just like Rich, like Rich was talking about, how I approach a elite athlete and how I approach a beginner athlete varies on the degree of the person and also who they are. So, when that,
some people got to yell at,
exactly,
some people got to love on.
Exactly, there are. And I mean, like coaches, I see a lot of stuff, like when I drop into other gyms or stuff, they're coaching the athlete the same way and they're getting the same result. Insanity. You're expecting to do the same thing over and over, or you're doing the same thing over and over again and expect to get, the result. And it's like, no, you gotta try out different things. You gotta try out different techniques. Some are tactile, some are, stuff like that. I'm like visual. And, I mean, that would be exactly it, to where, you got a class that like shows up and stuff. Okay, now I know a little bit about this athlete. How am I going to get them to move? If this athlete's good at something, this athlete hates burpees. Do I want to ruin their day by making them do burpees?
Yes,
and,
you do.
And stuff. And it's like, hey, talk to them. Yeah. Okay, maybe we'll change up a little bit for you. I know that you have bad knees, so I'm going to have you bike. And then I've got somebody who's, a little bit younger, fitter, that I can kind of beat up on a little bit. You're going to be the burpee guy. You're going to be doing this. So, again, using different things, that's like what I loved. I loved those oh crap moments, like when multiple people walk in and you got to look at that workout and then make those adjustments.
Yep. So,
I have a couple housekeeping questions.
Yep, housekeeping.
We've kind of danced around it, but I just want more of a concise answer. I think a lot of people would assume that Mayhem Affiliate is just programming. I'm just getting a workout each day that I'm giving to my class.
Yep.
But can you guys encapsulate what
speak
you're
to
getting?
kind of the videos that you give them every day.
Yeah. So kind of like what I was just talking about is I kind of show like my style as far as how I talk through things, like with it. And I mean, that's like my main goal. Like I talked about, I want to show you how I do it, how I talk through a workout, how I would, reiterate that workout to a class. And then with that, giving different variations. If you have a large class, we have the large class option. If
you don't have bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have bikes. It's, body weight options. Compete options. So if you have somebody in your class that's a little bit more advanced, how would I take that a step up? Make it a little bit more challenging to fit, like their needs. And, with that, we try and get creative as far as, we have a scaling dock. We have a full library of a scaling dock of if you don't have this piece of equipment. We program sleds in there for the gyms that have them, but we also give the alternative options. GHDs, a big thing, a big staple within our programming is, GHDs and the development of them, and also like what they carry over to. If you don't have GHDs, we have V-up options, weighted sit-up options, all that stuff where you can still get within the intended stimulus, you know, just not to the full degree of the movement. And then, you know, on top of that, time frames, target times, target rep schemes, all that different stuff. You know, there are areas that we're trying to get people to hit, but like we understand, we're not afraid to venture out here.
But even beyond just the specific Metcon, you guys offer strength programming, gymnastics programming, warm-ups,
kids, teens, you know, life class, you know, like endurance, you know, that's another thing. You know, endurance is, you know, one of those programs where people just want to come in and just move for 40 to 50 minutes, sweat class style. Because
Christy speaks to like the business side of
business side of things. Yeah, we do. We have Christy is like a 24-hour service. You know, she is phenomenal with it. She's so great at providing, just like Josh said, you know, if, you know, she doesn't feel comfortable answering it or thinks that she can get a better answer from like somebody else, she's not afraid to ask. You know, she's not afraid to reach out to Josh, me, Rich, anybody else with it, and, you know, willing to provide the best answer for those coaches. And that's exactly what I love. You know, like she'll speak to people from other countries and really help, like even like with the language barrier of it. We offer it in French.
No, Portuguese.
Oh yeah, Portuguese,
Spanish, and then we're about to do French.
Yep. So, you know, we do. We try and cater to as many different revenues as possible to get that best experience.
So I know you just said it, but just to clarify, you're telling me that Christy will help me with anything I need regarding my affiliate, anything.
Honestly, I will say anything,
yeah,
yes.
I've been on the message boards, and some of the questions I see, I'm like, really? That's what you're asking right now? And Christy has an answer, or we'll find out that answer.
She will. She will, whether it's financially, you know, how to deal with you know, like what Josh talked about, how to deal like with a situation within your gym, even if it's outside of it.
We've seen pretty much everything.
Yeah,
From at Mayhem having that sample size of just every walk of life.
And I love that too, because that keeps us on our
keeps
toes.
us on our toes as well.
It does, you know, because like then you really think about how do we handle those situations, you know, because
there's so many.
As much as you think you know, you still don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much out there that still happens. Like even with programming, like you think that we programmed it all, we haven't even scratched the surface.
That's kind of an insane service that we offer. Like I've worked here for 2 years, and I met with Christy a week and a half ago talking about this podcast. And she explained what she did, and I was like, everything. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, she does it.
Offer that?
She's basically like the internet version of Josh, you know, because Josh literally will text you at 2 a.m. You know, I'm not awake at 2 a.m., but I'll get a text or an email from Josh at 2 a.m., and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Go to sleep, you know? And so it's just, you know, you got people like that make this thing work, and without you guys,
there are so many there's so many moving parts and so many people, you know, I'm like behind the scenes. You know, a lot of people do just think I sit behind a laptop and I just type out things, and like Rich said,
you don't do that?
I mean, here and there, yes.
But Christy owned an affiliate. I forgot for how long, but she owned an affiliate.
8 years?
Yeah. So she's seen it all. She's been part of it, and she's been a huge asset.
Yeah, she's great for bridging that gap, because all of us are homegrown. Yeah. And you know,
we only know
Mayhem. Yeah, we do. We literally. We do. And like Josh said, he came from the outside in. And, you know, Christy, you know, came from a small gym as well, you know, small town feel, stuff like that.
We know if it's just me and Darren, we're not going to make any money. We're going to get really fit.
We're not going to make any money. We're going to get really fit, and we'll just hand out memberships.
Yeah, for sure. You get a membership.
Yeah, exactly.
$20? That's all you can afford?
You
sure,
got a pulse?
Come on.
Yeah. Come on.
We usually charge $100, but you can only afford $20.
You buy me a double cheeseburger, you can work out here.
I think we did get paid in double cheeseburgers for a while.
We did.
I think we had when we started the gym, we had a loan for like $7,000, I think. And as long as we made that payment, that's all that mattered.
As long as we could make that payment, we were just
Darren would sit there all day. Back then, we didn't do classes. It was just like, hey, come in whenever you can.
We had one of those old, like, I can't even remember the brand.
It was desktop computer.
Yeah, desktop, like with the clear back. You know.
Oh, it was a Mac then. Was it a Mac?
Clear back. It was like pink back because it was Hillary's.
Yeah.
Something. And I'd get on YouTube.
It's under the pull-up bar. The spinning pull-up bar.
Yes, it's in our pull-up bar. Yep.
That's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all you got, Josh?
All right. Well, CrossFit Games, you're heading out?
Yeah.
I'm heading to Leadville. I'm going to Leadville, and then I'll be at the games on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy we're here. And it'll
be the first time in 14 years. Yeah, 14 years that I haven't been there for day one.
That's crazy. I know, that's crazy. This will be, I mean, it's awesome too because we're running we're at Iron Horse CrossFit there, and we're running classes. And this will be kind of like the first time where I'm not really like behind the scenes.
You're not a coach.
Yeah, and
you're not coaching anybody.
Helper, anything like that. No, I'm not. I'm just, which is I get to go back to doing what I got into doing, coaching.
Yep. So you're gonna coach it.
I love it.
This won't go out before, so be too late. Sorry,
Yeah, sorry,
everybody. If you missed out, you missed out.
Spoiler.
It's your fault.
Yep.
All right. Well, when are you flying out? Now too?
I'd drive out tomorrow.
Oh, drive out.
I had too much stuff.
You drive by
with
yourself?
editing and Shane's gonna actually.
Nice, there you go.
Shane's gonna help out coffee, Chris.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank goodness.
And there's coffee. All right. Peace.